Good morning, sir. Good morning, participants. A very warm welcome to the Capacity Building Program, Day 8. Today's resource person is Dr. Sardar Patil. He is one of the well-known geographers. He completed his graduation and master's in geography with a research project in urban geography from Shivaji College, Satara. He has been working as an assistant professor and head of the Department of Geography, ASF College, Devrut. He has been awarded PhD degree in flood disaster management by Shivaji University, Kolhapur in 2010. He is a PhD and MPhil supervisor of the University of Mumbai since 2017. Presently, 5 students are pursuing PhD under his guidance. He has been felicitated by the Maharashtra Bhugol Shastra Parishad, Pune with the Young Best Teacher Award in year 2015. He has organized more than 10 conferences, seminars, and workshops. He is a member of various academic organizations, associations, such as Deccan Geographical Society of India, Maharashtra Bhugol Shastra Parishad Pune, Hydrological Data User Group, Shivaji Vidyapit, Bhugol Parishad Sangha, Geographical Association of Goa, Konkan Geographical Association, etc. He has completed 4 minor research projects funded by UGC and University of Mumbai. He has published 3 books at the international level and he has published a total 23 research papers in various research journals. He has delivered and invited talks, chaired the sessions in 28 conferences, seminars, workshops, and many more. He has edited 7 proceedings. He is a member of the editorial board of 3 journals. He has presented his work in 47 conferences held in different corners of India. His research interest is in rural planning, environmental geography, hazard studies, solid waste management, and urban geography. He has provided consultancy for the creation of geodatabase with the view to the set up good governance to the village Kolhapur. He has been appointed as he has been appointed as a NAC coordinator for the Ratnagiri district NAC assistant committee. I would like to invite you, sir, for the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I regret for the delay due to unavoidable circumstances of internet issue because today there is heavy rainfall in the Konkan. So, just give me a second so I can share the screen. I hope my screen is visible to you. Actually, in the Konkan, today there is heavy rainfall, and because of heavy rainfall, there are network issues are there. So there was a little bit delay in conducting the session. Today we are going to focus on SPSS. I don't know what is the background of the researchers those who have joined for this session, and to what extent they are aware about the SPSS. Today we are going to focus on basics of SPSS. Then we will focus on how to analyze the data using SPSS, and it is very much necessary in the research work. Either you are going to conduct a research in human geography, population geography, or any other branch. At that time, nowadays, use of technology, that is computer technology, has increased tremendously. And in that regard or in that connection, it will be more beneficial to you.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir.
Hello. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir, can you switch off your camera so you will save the bandwidth?
Yeah. Thank you. Now the voice is clear.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. This is the window of SPSS. I'm not going to show you how to install the SPSS, especially the educational version of SPSS. If you are interested and if you don't have the educational version of SPSS, you can write an email to me. I will share the link to you and you can install the SPSS in your system. Today we are going to focus on basic part of SPSS. See, when we open this window, I'm directly going to practical component of the SPSS. You might be aware that SPSS is the statistical package for social sciences, and in data analysis, it is much more useful as compared to any other software. And you can use the same along with the GIS software for the analysis of data. To start this software, you may go to start menu and from there you can start. Otherwise, there may be a possibility that there may be a shortcut at the desktop and from there you can open this software. When you will open this software, there will be two windows. We can say as a data editor because there are certain parts are there. One is data editor is there. Another one is syntax editor is there. Then output viewer. Such some parts are there, and we will focus one by one. You are seeing this window as a data editor, and in data editor there are two views. One is data view and another one is variable view. From variable view, you are supposed to or you required to define the variable. So when you will go to this menu bar, you will find here file. There are various options are there. One is file, then edit, view, data, transform, analyze, direct marketing, graphs, utilities, add-ons, and helps. These are the some of the options that are available under editor view of SPSS. In SPSS on file new, here you can create new data file, new syntax file, new output viewer, and new editor. These are the various available under file. Uh, Under open, you can open previously created the files of data viewer, then syntax editor, then output viewer, and script viewer, or you can say script editor. Open database, here you can create new query or you can edit the query which is already created by you, or you can run the query. These are the various options are available under open database. Then read text data. This is also one of the option which is available in SPSS under file view. Then these are the close, save as. These are the various options are available. Then rename data set, cache data, switch server, repository, and recently open files, or you can say recently created files of SPSS. You can open from recent files, and if you click on exit, automatically the window of SPSS will close. Then under edit, undo, redo, then cut, copy, paste variables, clear. These are the various options are available. Now these are not active because till now I haven't created any database or any. I haven't entered any data or I haven't entered any variable or defined any variable. So you can find here that these options are didn't active aren't active till now. From insert variable, you can insert the variables which are available, which are related to your data. Then insert cases, find next. These are the various options available under the edit menu. Then when you go to view, under view menu, you can turn on the various toolbars. You can see your status toolbar is there. Then status bar. Then under toolbars, you can also turn on or off from here, that is data editor, and also you can customize. Under menu editor, if you click on menu editor, this next window will open and you can edit that menu. Then fonts, grid lines, custom variable view. These are the various options available under the view. Then under data, you can define the variable properties. Then you can click on set measurement level for unknown. Actually, when we enter the data in SPSS, at that time we need to define the level of measurement. Either it is that data is ratio, or that data is nominal level of measurement, or categorized data. Accordingly, we need to set the levels of measurement for unknown data set from here. Then copy data properties. Every data set has its own properties, and that you can copy that properties through this option, that copy data properties. New custom attribute is there. Then define dates. You can define the dates, define multiple response set. Data validation option is there under the data. Then identify duplicate cases, identify unusual cases. These are the various options are available under the data option on menu bar. Then if you go to transform, there are some you can compute the variables from the data set that you have entered. Then count variables, then recode into same variables, recode into different variables, automatic recode, visual binding, optimal binding, rank cases, date and time wizard. These are the various options are available under transform. SPSS, this is the software most useful in the research work of social sciences as well as in commerce, especially when we go to direct market related with the commerce. Under analyze, this is the most important option in menu bar regarding today's session. From here, we can generate reports. For example, if you interested to generate reports related to your research topics, at that time you can use this option. Then descriptive statistics, because SPSS, first of all, you keep in mind that Excel is also available for the data analysis, but Excel can edit the data or process the data which is already processed. But for the primary data, when you are going to field and conducting field work, collecting the data sets, which you can say these are the very rough data set, for the analysis of that data, SPSS is the most suitable software. And under descriptive statistics, you can find frequencies, you can create descriptives, explore the data. Cross tab option is there. Under cross tab option, you can analyze the data. We will see it in the next part. Then tables, you can custom table. I mean, you can create your own tables regarding after selecting some parameters which will be directly related to your research. Then compare means is there. One sample t-test is there, independent sample t-test are there, paired sample t-test, one-way ANOVA. These are the various options available under analyze only. Okay. Then general linear model, that is unvariate, then multivariate and repeated measures are there. Generalized linear models, generalized linear model, and generalized estimating equations. These are the two options available under generalized linear model. Then mixed models you can find here, that is linear and generalized linear. Correlate, under correlate you can find out the partial correlation, distances and bivariate. Then under regression, automatic linear modeling, linear. Then curve estimation, partial least squares. These are the various options available under regression. You can also analyze log linear, general, then longitudinal model selection, etc. Then neutral networks classify, you can classify the data and you can find out the k-means, then hierarchical cluster tree, then nearest neighbor analysis, etc. Then dimension reduction, you can find the factor, then correspondence analysis, optimal scaling, etc. Under scale, you can find out here the reliability analysis, then multidimensional multidimensional scaling and multidimensional scaling Haskell. These are the various methods available under analyze. You can say analyze is the core component of the SPSS. Then under analysis, non-parametric tests are there. That is one sample, independent sample, related samples, legacy, etc. For forecasting, for example, suppose we are interested in forecasting based on certain data. For example, we are processing the data of population, or we are processing the data related to solid waste management, and at that time forecasting is necessary. And for forecasting, you can use these options, that is crosstabs, create models, apply models, seasonal decomposition, spectral analysis, then sequence charts, auto correlations, etc. Okay, just 1 minute. Okay. Then under analysis, multiple impulsion is there. Then complex samples are there. You can select the samples and analyze the data. Certain simulations are also available under analyze tab, and here you can see control charts and Pareto charts and ROC curve. This is another option. In direct marketing, if you go to direct marketing, the direct marketing option provides you a set of tools designed to improve the results of direct marketing. It is directly related to you can see where business is there, we are getting the feedbacks from customers, and accordingly we need to analyze the data. At that time, direct marketing option can be utilized. Here various options are there. If you click here, choose techniques, you can, oh, I haven't selected any data, so other options are not available for initial demonstration here. But under direct marketing, there are various options. RPM or FM analysis is there, and this technique identifies the existing customers who most likely to respond new offers. Suppose any company is giving new offers, and at that time we are getting the feedback from existing customers, and for that our FM analysis technique is most useful. Then cluster analysis is there. In geography, generally we focus on cluster analysis, especially related to settlement geography and the various branches of human geography also. Then prospect profiles, then postal code response rates, proprietary to purchase, control package test. These are the various tests available under direct marketing. Under charts, you can create your own chart. Then template, you can change the use the templates to create the graph. Under utilities, these are the various options are available. Variables is there, CMS control panel, then CMS identifies, etc. You just go through it. That will be more beneficial to you. Then some add-ons are there, some applications add-ons are there. If you click here, you will get some additional add-ons that may be included in your package, I mean software package, or may not be included in your package. Then some services are there, the consulting and training, you can select from services, and programmability extension, etc. If you click here, you will get some extensions from IBM. Then under Windows, if you have open multiple windows in SPSS, because this is the positive side of SPSS, that you can open multiple data set at a time and process that data. So that windows, which window you are interested in, you can click on that window only here, and from help menu you will get the any type of help which is directly related to your research topic from help menu. This is the basic information about the SPSS. Now we will focus on variable view initially, and then data view. In variable view, generally what happens, various researchers conduct the surveys, collect the data, and they go to the expert which is aware about the SPSS, and then tells to conduct the sampling, or you can say test the hypothesis. But generally it is not possible. You need to frame your questionnaire very initially when you are going to prepare a questionnaire. Initially you need to test that data sets in SPSS, either these inputs will work properly or not, and for that purpose you need to prepare a variable view or create a variable view, or you can say define the variables very initially before the framing the questionnaire. For example, when you are going to conduct a survey related to any topic, for example, we will take the problem of solid waste management, and we are interested in getting the responses from various stakeholders. There will be one variable will be name. Now you can see in data view only there are columns are there. You can see here where that is variable 1, variable 2, variable 3, variable 4, variable 5, and we need to define these variables here in variable view. For example, see under name, first I will write name. Okay, name, we need to define, name is the name. Then we need to define the type. Under, when you will click here on drop down in type, you will get these various options: numeric, comma, dot, specific notation, date, dollar, then custom currency, string, and restricted, numeric, etc. Okay, I will select here string because name is the string variable. So I will select here string and I will click here. Then width, either if you are the name is have more length, set width accordingly. I will set here 15. Then decimals, for name decimals are not required. For label, you can write here name of the respondent, name of the respondent. Okay, values none, because every name will be unique, so that it is not necessary to define the values. Then missing will be none. Columns 8, or you can increase the width of the column. Then alignment for the string variable, it will be by default it will be left. Please don't convert to right or center, etc. And level of measurement will be nominal, because it doesn't mean that if X person has Y name, it means he is influential, and Y person has X name means he is not influential. So you, under the level of measurement, you can please select here the nominal, and the role will be input only. Okay. Then second question, we are interested in the education of that person. So I will write here education. Okay, see, automatically other various options we need available here that we need to define. So sometimes what happen, most of the researchers write education of the respondent. you will see here, it is showing error. Variable name contains an illegal character. Always keep in mind there should not be any space for the variable title which are you are writing under the name. So I have written here only name under the name. Then under type, yeah, this will be numeric information. We will see how it will be numeric information. For width, it is more than sufficient. Decimal should be 0. Then we are going to write the label. Here we will write level of education. Level of education. Okay. Then values, you need to define the values. There are various educational levels may be there. For example, value will be 0. We can set it as illiterate. Click on add. Then 1 for primary education. Primary education. Then 2 for secondary education. 3 higher secondary. Add. Then 4 graduate. Then 5th postgraduate. 6 doctoral. 7 any other. Add. Okay. Automatically values will be available here. Then missing is none. Column 8. Alignment will be right. For numeric information, always alignment will be right only. Then levels of measurement that we need to define here. There are 3 options are available. One is scale, another one is ordinal, and third one is nominal. We will set it as a nominal information, or you can ordinal. The level of education has certain meaning, so you can set it to ordinal information, and role will be input. Then we will focus on gender, because these are the various parameters that we need to consider while the analyzing the data. I mean, either the level of education is affecting on where the person or how the person is managing the solid waste. Either the gender is affecting on how that person is affecting, how that person is going to manage that solid waste generated in his home. Same for gender, information will be numeric only. Then width 8 is okay. Decimals will be 0. Then label, gender of the respondent. Values 0 male. Add 1 female. And 2 transgender. Click OK. Missing will be none. Column 8 is okay. Alignment by default, it will be right. Levels of measurement nominal only, because 0 means lower and 1 means higher. nothing like that. So levels of measurement will be nominal and role will be input only. Then SWM underscore method. Information will be numeric, width will be 8 by default, decimals will be 0. Label will be how do you manage the solid waste generated in your home. That will be label. Now we will provide the various options. One will be throw openly, throw on open place, at. Second will be put, classify and put into proper dustbin as per standards. Add 3. Put in dustbin into dustbin without classification. Or burning at open place. Add. Okay. See, missing will be none. Columns 8, alignment by default right. Again, you set the level of measurement as a nominal. Here now I have defined role as input, but as when you are going to analyze the data, at that time you can change the role from input to target also. It depends upon what is your motive, which data you are going to use as a dependent variable, which will be independent variable. It depends upon what type of research that you are conducting and what type of the data set that you have collected, and accordingly this role will be changed. Here various options are available, that is input, target, both, then none, then partition and split. If you are interested in split that data set, at that time you can use the split option, and if you are interested to segregate the data into certain parts, at that time you can use the option partition. Okay. In this way, you can set the variables. I will stop the variable defining. I hope that there may not be any ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please ask to any participant either they have any queries related to variable defining, because this is the core part of the SPSS.
Yes, sir. We will ask them to post the questions in the chat box.
Okay.
Participants can also unmute themselves if they want. They have been given that facility. If they want to unmute and ask a query, that also they can do, and also they can type it in the chat box.
All the participants, please keep in always in mind that you need to define the variables before you are going to collect the data. You think upon इसमें कौन से ऑप्शन हम दे सकते हैं, पहले सोचिए. Very initial stage. Most of the time what happens, we collect the data roughly without any base, and we go to any expert to analyze that data, and sometimes it create problem. If you are going to test your hypothesis at that time, that may create trouble, or it may not provide the proper results. Okay, I think there are no questions are there. We will move towards another part. Okay. Then data view. Now you can see these are the various options are available in variable view. That is name, education, gender, SWM method, etc. In name, suppose we have collected the data, that data you can enter here, or if you have used the Google Forms or any other such software to collect the data, and data is available in the form of Excel file. At that time, you can directly import that data. Now we are going to enter some data set here. For name, I will write ABCD, etc. only. Okay. For education, if you write here primary, see, it will not take, because this information we need to provide in numerical system only, and SPSS is the software which processes the numerical data, especially the primary data set. For educational level, we have defined values from 0 to 7. So you need to write the value between 0 to 7 as per the data set that you have collected. See, when I write here 0, automatically it will show illiterate. And suppose for that purpose, we need here on variable labels. If you click on variable labels, at that time it will show the labels. Otherwise, it will be in numerical format only. 1. See, I have written here 11, so it is not showing any label. Here is missing, and when we are going to analyze the data, at that time it will show as a missing. For gender, we have defined the values variables, I mean 0 to 2. If you write here 0, automatically it will show male. If you write 1, it will show female. And if you write 2, it will show transgender. I'm going to copy and paste this data set. Okay. Then SWM method, that is method of solid waste management. Okay. Now the data is ready into data view. We will go to the part of analysis, that is descriptive statistics. Suppose I have a lakhs of rows and lakhs of columns. At that time, to process that data, it may take several hours. But using SPSS, we can go here to descriptive statistics. Okay, see, we will set here the level of education. Okay, then how do you manage the data? I mean solid waste. Then gender of the respondent. These are the various variables we have selected. You just click on here, that is what type of statistical calculations you required. You are interested in mean, median, mode, sum, then minimum, maximum, standard error, mean, range, variable, standard deviation, skewness, kurtosis, okay, quartiles, cut points, etc. These are the various statistical information that we are interested in here. Just click on continue and click on okay. If you are interested in chart also, at the same time you can click here on bar chart, pie chart, histogram, etc. Then format ascending values, descending values, ascending counts, descending counts, etc. Continue, click OK. See, within a fraction of second, this data set has been analyzed, and you can see here for level of education total values 38. One is missing. Why one is missing? Because there may be a possibility that I have entered a wrong value beyond the defined value. So one value is missing. Then mean is 2.05. Then standard error of mean is 0.309. Median is 1.50. Mode is 0. Standard deviation is 1.902, etc. Then this is the frequency table. Then you can see for level of education, how many illiterates are there, how many primary education respondents are there, then secondary respondents, higher secondary, graduate, postgraduate, and doctoral. These are the various responses. We can create easily within a fraction of second the bar chart for a level of education and for other answers which you have collected the data set. This is the one option. We are now in output viewer. You can directly copy this chart and paste into Word and use in your research or in any other software that you are going to use for your research. So we can copy this table and put into our research. This is one option. Then we will go to next part. Yeah. Analyze tables, custom tables. Sorry. In descriptive statistics, crosstab is there. Suppose we are interested to create a table. So gender will be column and level of education will be rows. Okay. Then see, automatically according to level of education and gender, this data set has been used or generated. You can create the tables and you can create the graphs and charts you are interested in that is related to your research topic. Again, in analyze descriptive statistics, PP plots, QQ plots, ratios are there. Then compare means.
Sir, sorry to interrupt you, sir. The
Yes,
outputs are not visible on the screen.
Oh, okay. That I mean, I need to reshare the screen.
Yes, sir.
Shall we select because for there is no option for entire screen. Oh yeah, got it. Sure. Now just check now. Descriptive statistic frequencies. Okay. Either visible.
Yes, sir. It is visible now.
Okay. Thank you,
sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. See, we have created the tables for statistical analysis, and suppose you are interested to put this table in your research, you just right click here and copy, and you can paste into your thesis or your topic, or otherwise you can directly export into a Word format or PDF format also, and that you can easily use into your research. Under analyze, another option is there, that is cross tables. See, cross tabs are there. How do we manage the solid waste? It will be row, and gender information will be in columns. If you're interested in statistical information for the same, you can see chi-square. For example, sometimes we set the hypothesis before conducting the research. And here I will say that there is no correlation between gender of the respondent and the method of solid waste management. This will be my hypothesis. Now we are going to test either it will be acceptable. I mean, this hypothesis is acceptable, or this hypothesis can be rejected. I will click here on continue. Okay, level of education and I will remove this. Okay, click on OK. See, chi-square test value, Pearson's value on 6 degree of freedom is 21.199. Then likelihood ratio is 25.827. Then linear by linear association, it is 2.626, and valid responses are 38. Okay. For that purpose, either this hypothesis is acceptable or rejected. For that purpose, you can use the table value of chi-square test. So within a fraction of second, you can see that these data sets we have analyzed, and we tested the hypothesis using the chi-square test. If you are going to test the hypothesis using manual methodologies, at that time it may take a number of hours to calculate the data. Accordingly, I have very few 4 minutes only, but I will do only what you can do. You practice if you haven't the software for educational version of SPSS, you can personally write me. I will provide the link so you can download the educational version of SPSS, and you can practice this not for the professional purpose, only for your own purpose. I mean, for learning and for teaching, you can use the same. And this is the older version, so there may not be any proprietary issue at the end of the IBM. Okay. In regression also, you can find out linear regression and other regressions are there. You can classify this data, and you can calculate the k-means, hierarchical cluster, etc. Okay. These are the various options. You have your own data set. You put the data into system and you practice. See what happens. If you face any problem, you can personally write me, sir, I'm interested in this analysis of this data, and you please guide me. Definitely I will guide to you. With this, I would like to conclude, because we can't complete this entire software within a session of 1 hour, because it requires, because for a SPSS only for SPSS, we may conduct the session for days. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir, for such an informative and insightful session. If participants have any query, they can unmute themselves, or even they can type their question in the chat box.
Sir, your email address.
Sir, yeah, I will write here, Sardar.
And what is the version of the SPSS software?
Yeah,
please?
it is older one. I mean, 18 or 20 something.
Okay.
Now in
Thank you,
market, 27 maybe there. 27.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions or query? You have the option to unmute yourself and also ask the question.
Sir, it is a request, just increase the font size.
No, I will send in.
Sir, your
Professor
voice is
Shabir, maybe
cracking.
if sir is forwarding it to us, he will forward
I have network issue because there is heavy rainfall in the Konkan, and now joined through mobile network. So I'm
sir.
not in my workstation. I travel to another city, which is at the distance of 50 kilometers, and from there I'm attending session.
Okay, sir. Thank
Otherwise,
you, sir.
it may not be possible.
Sir has
And your
written
good
his
name,
email
please?
ID in the chat box. So those who want, they can just note it down. Any other query? Any other questions? If you want to ask, we can ask sir. Sir has posted his email ID. Whoever wants it, they can jot it down. Sir, one of the participant has asked to the host, like this is all like we are doing the primary data analysis. What
Yes.
can we do for secondary data? If we have to analyze secondary data, what is the method that we can follow?
No, for SPSS is basically used for the analysis of primary data. For secondary data, other softwares are there. Yeah, for example, advanced Exceling is there. Using advanced Exceling, you can analyze any type of data, any type. Nowadays, in advanced Exceling, you can perform the analysis for primary data also. But for that purpose, you should have the advanced knowledge of Excel.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
I hope all the like the concept is clear, a bit clear. It is difficult. It can't be covered in 1 hour, but at least participants have an idea and they can just go through and revise. I'll call Ms. Vishaka to propose a vote of thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning to one and all present over here. It's a pleasure for me to propose a vote of thanks on behalf of our management, our director, ma'am, Dr. Mrs. Nancy Jose, our in-charge principal, Professor Dr. Moshmi Datta, ma'am, vice principal and IQAC coordinator, Dr. Mona Mehta, ma'am. I would like to thank you, sir, for such an informative session, along with the demonstration on how to use the SPSS statistics data editor software. I'm sure our participants must have found it useful, especially for the ones for whom this software is new. This software is bundled with so many features that I know within 1 hour it is impossible to cover everything. But sir, you have covered most of the features which are required, which would be required to many of us for our research. So I'm sure the researchers from various domains will find this software very useful for their analysis purpose. Once again, thank you so much, sir, for such a wonderful session.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. May I leave now?
Good morning, one and all. Welcome you all for the second session of day 8. So our second session is on parametric tests, 1 sample and two sample t-test. For this session, we have Dr. Madhukar Darvi. He has done his MSc, MPhil and PhD in mathematics. He is currently working with Nagindas Khanwala College since 1995. His area of interest are mathematics, statistics, operational research. He is well versed in educational technology, SPSS, and Jamovi software. He is a board advisory editorial board. He is on advisory editorial board such as peer review committee member for the subject of mathematics, statistics, and computer science for multidisciplinary journal Reverberation. He has published 17 research papers in ISSN and ISBN. He has done 1 minor research project funded by UGC. He is providing consultancy to 80. He has consulted 82 research scholars for research data analysis. He has been invited as a resource person for 66 workshops and sessions on the topic related to research data analysis. He has done 5 workshops sponsored by ICSSR and 49 other workshops for teachers and research scholars. He has done UGC refresher course of 4 research refresher course and 6 UGC short-term courses. He is a chairperson of international conferences. International conferences. I would like to invite you, sir, for the session.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Thank you for the excellent introduction. Just one correction on the slide which was said, I am not actually of mathematics. Of the department.
Sir, you are not audible enough.
I am not audible enough.
Yes.
Hello. Is it okay now?
Better, sir. but still we are facing some issues.
Just give me a minute. Hello, am I audible now clearly? I'll not be able to listen to you.
Better, sir, better. Thank you, sir.
Your mic and system. Can you, somebody who can type in the chat box? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
I'll not be able to listen to you people for a moment.
So maybe the speaker selected might be a different one. Maybe the earphone speaker would have been selected. So if you can call. The participants can wait for 2 minutes. We'll just solve this technical.
Am I audible now?
So without earphone, it was more clearer comparatively.
Without what? Earphone, it is more clear. Okay, then what we do is I'll not be able to.
So this is better. We can hear you. Like
This is
right
better?
now, the voice that came.
Much better. Should I start sharing my screen?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, my screen is visible now. Let me know please whether my screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so far we have heard different sorts of questions. They deal with the different topics which are related to the research methodology. Specifically, if I talk about statistics, we have heard different research questions. Just now, Dr. Sardar Patil gave the idea about statistical software, SPSS. I also deal with that software. But that software is not available everywhere. The educational version you can use. The paid version is really very good, excellent version. To avoid that issue, today I'm going to take you to another software called as Jamali, which is an open source software. Yesterday I've shared one file with all of you. So I hope that some of you must have downloaded that software, which is really available. So today's session and tomorrow's session will be a demonstration of this particular software along with the statistical analysis. Let's start directly with the statistical analysis. display some idea to understand the basics of certain statistics. We're not able to perform the actual analysis. What we do is, first of all, understand certain basics, and then we will go to the software. In between, I take you to the software. So those who have not installed that software called a Jamovi can still install the software. Just have to type Jamovi Google, Jamovi download, and download the Windows version, which I have already shared with you. Then I've shared some files in the Google Drive. The link is already provided with you, right? Download those files also from the Google Drive. And those are the process files which I'll be using during my presentations today and today. So if you are ready with that, we'll proceed. So let me start with some basic idea. Let's start with the basics. Especially we are going to talk about hypothesis. I know that one of the session, which is a night, I've already given the idea about the hypothesis. But I'm going to talk about hypothesis testing, not the hypothesis formulation. But for hypothesis formulation also, we need to understand the basics. I hope that all of you have learned those things. I'll start from there, but before that, let's try to link of research and the role of analysis in the research. As everybody, all of you are aware that analysis is a very important thing in the research. Unless and until we analyze data, test hypothesis, the research will not be.
Dalvi sir,
Yeah.
we are not able to hear, sir. Dalvi sir,
Yes, madam.
it's very faint, sir.
Hello.
Hello,
Is it audible now?
sir, much better, much better. Sir, थोड़ा laptop के पास आ जाएंगे, maybe it will increase the volume.
Okay.
Sir, कुछ बोलिए ना अभी तो.
Hello.
Yes, it's better.
It's better now.
Sonali, is it fine? From my side, I'm feeling it's fine.
Ma'am, we feel without earphone it is coming much better, maybe because sir, with earphone it is fluctuating a bit in between. So if sir, if you can manage sir without the earphone.
I can manage without earphone, but then I'm not able to hear you all. That's it.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Any query you have to type in the chat box. Is it okay? Or this is workable now? Is it okay? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible. Just hold the mic, sir. So you will be audible. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Live. I was talking about the role of analysis in the research. Generally, this particular 5 things. The research title, research problem, objectives, and data, and analysis. All these are very closely related. When you go for any type of analysis, you have to remember one thing, that the whole analysis has to be related with your title and with justification to your research. For example, generally what we do is related to our research title, we have research problems. And problems will give you objectives and hypotheses. For verification of objective and testing of hypothesis, we collect data. Data may be primary or secondary data. We have seen the types of data, specifically secondary data. There was one session also. And then we analyze this primary as well as secondary data. Doesn't matter whether it is primary only, or secondary only, or combination primary or secondary. There are researchers where only primary data analysis is done. Some people go for secondary data analysis. Some people go for computation. So, maybe anything. By using this software, you can do any type of, whether it is a primary or secondary data, anything is you have to bring data in a proper format. Once you do that, you can definitely work on it. In the analysis, there are types of data. For example, categorical data, right? Numeric data. What we deal with numerical data or quantitative data. There's something called as qualitative data. And software related to qualitative data analysis are also different. We are not going to deal with the qualitative data. We going to focus now on the quantitative data, where we talk about numbers. One thing you have to remember that for objective, you have to verify the objectives. Hypotheses are tested. So these two terms you have to keep in mind continuously. Objectives are verified and hypotheses are tested. For objective verification, hypothesis testing is a different type of statistical tools. So what is descriptive and what is inference? Let me just clarify these two things. Descriptive, the word itself indicates we describe, and inferential, we find out the inferences. So generally, descriptive analysis is actually dealing with the objectives. So whenever you want to verify objectives, you use descriptive analysis. Whereas for hypothesis testing, you use inferential analysis. Okay, so inferential analysis. So what we generally do in our research, sometimes we make sections, descriptive analysis and inferential analysis. Inferential analysis is actually dealing with the hypothesis testing. Today, as far as my session plans are concerned, we are going to deal with the inferential analysis, that is hypothesis testing, where we are going to use the tests, two types of tests we are going to do. But before going through those two types of tests, we will first of all understand when to use those tests. Because using software, getting data, understanding the result is a very simple thing. Anybody can do it very quickly. But if you really want to understand when to apply, right, which test, whether t-test is applicable, one sample t-test, then we are having two sample t-test, a t-test, when to use which type of test, that is more essential and important than using software. Software will give you immediate output. Right? That is not the difference. So we will discuss that first. Okay. Okay. Generally, for descriptive analysis, that is, when we will verify our objectives, we use different type of statistical tools, which includes frequency tables, cross tables, graph diagram. Descriptive describe. We use measures of central tendency like mean, median, mode, dispersions, standardizations, measures of skewness and purposes are used also for tracking the wickedness, flatness of the graph, correlation analysis. All these are part of descriptive analysis, which are relevant for objective. For inferential analysis, that is hypothesis testing, we use different type of tests. Now, what are different types of tests? T-test, Z-test, ANOVA. Must have heard about this. Then have correlation tests. We find calculation correlation, rank correlation. But that is not sufficient. We have to test it. We have a correlation test, both calculation and German test, regression test also. The regression analysis is not just finding out the regression equation, but we have to test for its significance. Along with that, we are having non-parametric tests. Today, we may not discuss non-parametric tests. I'll introduce while dealing with the parametric test, right? Maybe in tomorrow's session, when we will actually process data. That time, we
Dalvi sir?
Yes,
Sir, which classroom are you there in?
I'm in group number 2, geography room. Geography room.
Which room number, sir?
Geography room number 14. There's a small room for any class.
Okay, sir. I'll just send somebody over there because unclarity here, sir, we did.
And we are sending a student to help, sir.
Yeah, just 5 minutes. Participants, I request you, just wait for 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Participants will be resuming soon. Just a technical glitch. We will be solving that so that it is clear to you all, because many of you said it is not clearly audible. So we are making the arrangement. So we will be resuming shortly. Thank you.
Hello. Hello. Am I audible now? Hello. Hello. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Much better.
Okay. Fine. Thank you. Ah. Yeah, I was talking about analysis. For descriptive analysis, we use mean, median, mode, standard deviation, etc., etc. And for inferential analysis, the hypothesis testing, we use t-test, z-test. These are parametric tests, ANOVA. Out of these three tests, t-test, one sample, two sample, independent as well as dependent, that is correlated test, pair test we will be learning along with ANOVA. Okay, so we'll be using a software called as Jamovi, which is a free online software, open source software for both descriptive as well as inferential analysis. Our focus will be on inferential analysis. So let me give you a little idea about this software. This is how this window of the software is seen. I'll take you directly to the software now. But before that, let's see what instruction file I just take you to the instruction file. So this is a website, okay, through which you will go and download this software. So right now, this present version is 2.3.13. The version which I'm using is a little older version, but doesn't make any difference. Doesn't make any difference, but you have to download this version now, right? And then I have given a folder link. You go to the folder link and click on this link and download the files which are available. Please remember that once you download, you have to run the software also. Okay, so all these instructions are given. This is how this file, the general file of this particular software look like. So please follow this instruction and then we will go ahead. So let me go ahead with this when time, and there is a YouTube link also provided. If anybody wants to, is having any issues with the download, you can go through this video, and this video is not only how to download the software, but it will help you in, it will help you also to give you a idea how to do statistics also. I hope I am audible clearly now. If it is okay, shall I continue?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is very clear.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, how to open a Jamovi file, right? And how to start the analysis. What we do generally, we conduct Google surveys, okay? And the Google forms are either downloaded with an Excel options, it's a general Excel file, or maybe a CSV file. So if you are able to download the CSV file, well done, because here we are going to use CSV format of the Excel file. So I'll show you. If you are, you can prepare your file in Excel also initially. So for example, this is a typical example of a Google sheet, right? A Google file, which the survey which I've conducted, right? And we nowadays all of us know this type of Google survey. We conduct Google surveys, and if this is a file, you can open this file in Jamovi directly. Okay, but before that, you have to convert this file into CSV version. This is Excel, right? This is Excel. So you have to go for save as, just save as this Excel file into a CSV format. That's it. Right? CSV, comma, delimited. Right? Save as, so that you will be able to use this. What I did is I have already saved this file in a CSV version. So this is a CSV version of the same file data which I've collected. I'm not going to the data preparation, right? The questionnaire relations and all, because we had a lot of discussion on questionnaire. Of course, I looked at questionnaire in a different angle, the analysis angle. But since time, because of the time constraints, and my focus is on the analysis, I'm not dealing with that particular part. We'll directly go for the analysis. Okay, this is the CSV version of the same file. which I've already converted. Now, same file can be opened in particularly Jamovi directly. The third file, the same file I've saved in the Jamovi. So when you start Jamovi, right, when you click on Jamovi, so those who are actually have downloaded these files already can start opening this financial literacy survey file, which is available in my folder, Google Drive, right? And you can try along with me. But right now, I'm not processing this file, just showing you how to open this file. So now the same file which is available here, I have opened it. But this I have already prepared. But how to open an CSV version of a file? Let me take you there. So what you need to do is you have to open any general file, any Jamovi file. So what generally is happening is when you actually download this particular Jamovi software on your PC, you will have, look at this. My version is 1.8.2, which is older version. Last year I've downloaded this version. What is interesting part about this software? There is a team who actually continuously keep on updating this particular version of the software. So now it is different version, but anyway, you can work with any version. So I have 1.8.2. We have it, but as a beginner researcher, you can definitely. So this is how it looks. It's a general file. Now with the general file, if I want to open an CSV file with an Excel CSV version of an Excel file, what I will do? Please follow this procedure. Just go to open, right? Open. When you go to open, you'll have to browse through wherever your file is. Say, for example, one of my file is this file, which is actually a CSV. You will see this CSV file, Microsoft Excel, separated value file. This file you can open it. Just double click on that. You will be able to open that file. So no need to prepare a separate file like, Sardar Patil sir was explaining how to prepare an SPSS file and then process. So once your file is ready in Google Sheet, or maybe Google Sheet file directly of CSV version of that file can be opened here. But for analysis, to prepare a process file also. See, for example, here you will see this is a process file where I would generated some variables generated for some variable for my analysis purpose. This is not the same file which I was showing you, which is downloaded Google Sheet, right? From the Google Sheet, Google Excel file. This is slightly a different file, which later on I have modified and prepared for my analysis purpose. So when you go for any type of analysis, you need to understand a lot of basics behind the analysis, what you require, what you need to have for your hypothesis testing, for objective verification. You have to segregate those things separately, make a separate CSV file, and then start processing. Okay, this is very simple software. Now I'll just take you a little bit ahead, and then we will go back to the presentation. Here, in this software, you can see on the top, there are different icons: exploration, t-test, ANOVA, regression, frequency, factor, and some more things which are not visible with you, right? This you can add. This you can add, just like in R software or in Python, we are having libraries, right? So here we have modules available. And in modules, there is a Jamovi library. And in Jamovi library, different type of softwares which are available. Now this software you can upload here, right? You can see this software and you can see these softwares, all these softwares simultaneously you can work with these softwares also. Provided you should know about this software, so you can Google through and find out how to use this type of softwares and then add this software in along with Jamovi and you can work. For example, I've added base R here. Right? Base R software, if I'm adding, I can get an R output through Jamovi. So I'm using Jamovi, but R output can be also. So those people who are comfortable with R, and if first time they are starting with this thing, they can they can install this base R software right here from the Jamovi library, and then start with Jamovi and get the output in base R, that is R output also, so that it is very easy to understand for those people who are comfortable with R software. So very versatile software, open source also. No need to pay and very useful. See, this is structural equation modeling. So those people who are who want to go for structural equation modeling, they can use this particular specific option, structural equation modeling. Obviously, in the factor also, we are having exploratory factor analysis, confirmatory factor analysis, etc. So those things are also available. So a very good software, I believe, because I know I am using from last 2 years, right? I had never any problem while working with this software. Okay. Am I audible clearly? Somebody can unmute and say, please.
Yes, sir, you're
Yes.
audible.
That's I'm worried actually in between. Fine. So let us go ahead and experiment something. So suppose, for example, I just want to prepare a small frequency table and a graph, right? Or do some mathematical mean median mode calculations with something. How do I go for it? So I go to exploration, and there is something called as descriptive. Descriptive means your mean, median, mode, frequency tables, etc., etc. All those are coming under the descriptive. That's what the title descriptive analysis we are having. Say, let me take gender here on the right hand side, and educational level, community type. All these are variables which we've directly taken from the data. And now I want to prepare frequency distribution table. So I'll just click here, and you will see a frequency distribution table available here. Yeah, one more thing, if anybody want to ask any question simultaneously, you can please unmute yourself and ask question, or type in the chat box also. And organizers, please help me if there is a message in the chat box. Yeah, so yes. So
The
this side,
participants can unmute themselves if they have any question or any doubt. They can unmute themselves, or also they can type it in the chat.
yeah, fine. Thank you, madam. So frequency table now. This frequency table, 3 tables are generated quickly. Since I've actually included 3 variables on the right hand side, I am having 3 tables. So this table we can copy also. So for example, what I'm doing is I'm doing right click on the mouse, and then copy. You can export also. So just copy this, and you can paste anywhere, right? Wherever you want in the Word file, for example, you want to paste this table, just paste this table in the Word file. Right? And then whatever you want to do, right, give a border and etc. Right? So all the things, later part you can do once you are having table available in this thing. So this way you can copy. In fact, you can copy all these tables. What I'm doing is on the right hand side, on the blank space on the right hand side, let me right click on this and then copy. So what will happen now? Instead of copying one particular table, now I'll be able to 2-3 tables together. So you can do that together also if you want, or you can copy one by one. You know that for gender, you cannot calculate mean median mode. See, you have to understand this basic also, some certain common sense also. Certain variables you cannot calculate arithmetic mean, median, mode, and few variables you can calculate. Let me show you how to calculate arithmetic mean, median, and mode, right? For these variables, which are actually numeric variables, numbers. You will see here automatically standard deviation, maximum, minimum are generated in one table. Why this is? Well, this is because already by default it is selecting something. Suppose I don't want median, I'll just remove this tick. So I don't have median. I don't want minimum, maximum. I just want mean and standard deviation. So then mean and standard deviation will do. Missing frequencies are very important because that will give you an idea how many data values are there. Are there any missing frequencies? Missing frequencies are 0, indicate that our data is properly done. There are no missing values. This is very important when you go for analysis. You can calculate skewness and purposive values also. These are very important values when you go for the normality test. I'll explain you how to actually why it is important. Right below, we are having plots also. There are certain plots available which you can use. For example, if you want to create a histogram and a density curve to get an idea whether our data is this particular data set, 4 data sets are normally distributed or not. From the histogram also, one can get an idea the distribution type. It is generating. Yeah, I hope my screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, okay. So now see, this is histogram along with the density curve it is generated. So this will give you an idea how whether the data is normally distributed or not. So this is very handy software. Anybody can use this software. It's not a big issue because you can work with Excel. Everybody, generally we all use Excel very much. And there was a session yesterday also on Excel. So all of you are familiar with Excel also. So using once you prepare an Excel proper file, you can definitely open that file, CSV version obviously, the CSV file in this particular software. Okay, this is very fascinating, very interesting software. And you have to try. Now, today and tomorrow, we will try to focus this. Now, before that, let me go back to the presentation and continue the analysis part. So this is your Jamovi software. And now let us talk about hypothesis testing, right? We are going to go for hypothesis testing. First of all, now I am going to ask certain questions. Please let me know what is your idea about hypothesis. What is hypothesis? Can anybody unmute yourself and or you may type in the chat box also.
Sir, it is a possible question or a theory.
Possible question or a theory, okay? Yeah, somebody else? What is
Can the
hypothesis?
participant repeat
Tentative,
the query, please?
Okay. Akshay saying tentative statement, fine. You can understand first of all hypothesis. It's a tentative statement. So all tentative statements are hypothesis? Yes or no? All tentative statements are hypothesis. Please type Y or N in the chat box. No, yes, okay, no. Then what is hypothesis?
It is an assumption.
It is an assumption, okay. Assumption, fine. Yeah. Whether all assumptions are hypothesis? Whether all assumptions are hypothesis? So if I take any assumption statement which I want to prove supporting data, tentative statement that can be put to a test, okay, fine. Okay, great. Thank you very much for responding. Keep on responding. That will help me a lot also. Yes. So hypothesis is actually a testable statement in the simple testable assumption. It is not just an assumption. It is an assumption. So the question arises: what is the purpose of hypothesis testing? What is the purpose of hypothesis testing? Why do we test hypothesis? Right? Why do we need to test hypothesis when we are having data? Okay, so this is a big question. What we do generally in our research process, we collect data, but we apply a sampling technique. Rather, in simple language, we collect samples, studies. Very few cases we go for a population study because it is really practically it is not possible to go for a population study. So we go for a sample, and whatever inferences we are drawing or whatever conclusions we are going to give, all those conclusions are best for population, not for sample. So we collect data, we analyze sample, and then conclude, the conclusions are given regarding population. So from sample to population, we are going to generalize our results. So how do we generalize this result? For this purpose, we need hypothesis. So what is the testing? The main purpose of testing of hypothesis is reaching a conclusion concerning the population by examining sample. Reaching a conclusion, right, by examining a sample. Just give me a second, please. Yeah. Hidden somewhere. Okay, I'm using, I want to use it. Fine. So what I'm going to do is reaching a conclusion concerning a population, examining a sample from that population. So what are we doing actually? We examine sample, that is we study, we analyze data related to sample, and we give reach conclusions concerning population. So from sample to population, we go ahead, right? So from taking a data from sample to population, we need hypothesis testing. So testing is required. Not only proposing and collecting data, testing is required. So that's the main purpose of hypothesis testing. Now, hypothesis simply may be a statement or an assumption regarding a population. We generally have two types of hypothesis. One is research hypothesis and then statistical hypothesis. Now look at this spelling. I'm talking about one hypothesis here and I'm talking about more hypotheses here. So when we frame hypothesis in the statistical way, we have to propose two parts of the hypothesis. One is null hypothesis and other one is alternative hypothesis. So with every research hypothesis, we have two hypotheses available or associated. Those are called as null and alternative hypothesis. I'll take you to the null and alternative hypothesis because that discussion is very. Research hypothesis is a general assumption which is testable in the sense the data should be available for testing purpose, both numerical data as well as categorical data. Data is not available, will not be able to test the hypothesis. So it is not just an assumption, it's an assumption where data is available, or we can call it as a testable assumption. Statistical hypotheses are actually null and alternative hypothesis, which we actually formulate while testing our hypothesis. So for testing purpose, you have to convert those general hypothesis or research hypothesis, that hypothesis into null and alternative hypothesis. Okay, just keep this in mind. Now, what is hypothesis? Now, this part is very essential and important. Please try to understand this. It is a statement tested for its validity, first of all. So we have to test it. So it should be testable statement. Then take variables. So we always write hypothesis as a relationship or a difference. Remember that each assertion should be written either in the and try to find out whether you're talking about relationship between variables, or difference between the variables, right? So this is very important. Relation, when we talk about relation, can be amongst 3-4 variables also. Difference can be 3-4 variables also, not necessarily 2 variables. For example, if you want to find out whether there is any relationship between expenditure, advertising expenditure and volume of sales for a particular product, right? So for a particular product we are talking about. So is there a relationship or not? Or there may be difference, there is a difference between two groups or not. Performance score of boys and girls, or in a hospital, estimated length of stay and actual length of stay, whether there is any significant difference. Estimated length of stay in the sense whether the once the patient is admitted in the hospital, how many actual day that patient takes to come out of the hospital, that is after the discharge, and what is an estimated length of stay, that is when the patient is admitted. Generally, we ask question, how many days hospitalization will take place. This is a general question asked particularly. Okay, so that is an estimated. So is there any difference between these two things, whatever is given, that whatever is said earlier and then the facts and all? So whether there is a difference, please remember this is very important to understand, because the whole statistical testing actually depends upon understanding about the hypothesis, whether that hypothesis is a relationship type or a difference type. Why? Because when the hypothesis is the relationship type, different type of tests are available for testing. When it is a difference type, we are having typical type of tests available. So test recognition can be done based on the statement of the hypothesis and the type, whether it is relationship type and difference type. Majority of the time, your statistical hypotheses are either relationship type or difference type. I will say 99% time they are of this type. So one has to identify what is the type of your hypothesis. We'll see some examples where we talk about the type of hypothesis. Generally, hypothesis is a logically conjectured relationship or a difference between two or more groups. And it is a testable statement. So it is not just a statement, it is a testable statement. You keep this in mind. Now, there are, just like I spoke about little bit about null and alternative hypothesis, there are other formats also, directional and non-directional. You have to understand this also. What is directional and non-directional? Because while testing, you have to select a proper way, whether it is one directional or non-directional hypothesis. What is directional? Please try to understand. Let me make a statement. Women are more motivated than men. This is a statement. This is directional hypothesis. Why this is directional hypothesis? Because there is a direction, more. We use word more, less, greater, smaller, positive, negative. When such type of terminologies between the variables are given, we generally say that they are directional hypothesis. You will see that women are more motivated, or pH value. What is pH value? It is actually potential of hydrogen, pH stands for. This is used for liquid substances, right? They calculate pH. Wine is actually a liquid substance. For that, there is a pH value. Generally, pH value is between 0 to 14, right? The value is available. It's a ratio value where hydrogen potential is measured. And so there are certain numbers available, and that number is significantly higher. See the terminology higher. So I'm using higher. So it means greater. Then lymphocyte cell diameters. Lymphocyte is a typical type of cell which occurs in the melanoma, that is a cancer cell, right? So this is a cell in which we have to measure a diameter, and that diameter is greater than the general diameter of the tumor cell. So what I'm talking again, lower, greater, right? Lower, higher, more. And when it is lower, higher, more, hypothesis, there is significant correlation. Now, I'm not specifying what type of correlation it is, whether it is positive correlation, negative correlation. I'm not specifying, not sure about it, but there is a significant correlation between body fats and chest circumference of a male. So fat percentage in the body and the circumference of the male. So that is measured. There are two numerical values, numbers are given, and then there is a correlation. So why it is not directional? Because though direction is mentioned here, significantly, similarly in the hospital, different. We are not sure whether it is greater, less, or equal. Greater or less. Equal नहीं हो सकता है because it is different. So different means either y, x is greater than y, or it can be x is less than y. So we don't know when we are not sure. It is both directions. In statistical language, we call it as two-tailed hypothesis. Two-tailed hypothesis, two-directional hypothesis. Third one is significant difference in solar cell outputs of three different types of solar cells. So let us take a solar cell and their output measuring watts. Now there are values. So we are having three sets of values. Now these are different, but different means we don't know whether cell A, solar cell outputs of cell A are greater than cell B or cell C. We don't know. Nothing is given, and in that case, it is called as directional, non-directional hypothesis. I hope non-directional, directional hypothesis concept is clear. Can some of you please type in the chat box? If it is clear, type yes, and if it is not clear, type no, because this is very, very important. We are going to use this hypothesis in our testing also. Please type quickly. Yes, whatever you feel, yes or no. If you have understood, type yes. If you have not understood, no. Let me know how many people are active at it. Okay, so there are 4 participants. Thank you very much. Let's proceed further. Let's talk about null hypothesis. In null, there are a lot of confusions about null hypothesis. Remember that our original hypothesis is a single hypothesis, or is a research hypothesis, which we write in the form of null and alternative hypothesis. So null and alternative hypothesis are two different statements, right, which you make related to one research hypothesis. And what is our null hypothesis? Null hypothesis is an opposite statement of our hypothesis. So whatever hypothesis you make, now let's go back. Women are more motivated than men. Now this is an hypothesis, suppose. This is the original hypothesis. So related to this, there will be another hypothesis called as null hypothesis, which is an opposite statement of this hypothesis. What is opposite statement of this hypothesis? Women are less motivated than men. This you will consider as null hypothesis. Okay. Second example, pH value of wine bottle is significantly higher than the threshold value 3.5. What will be the null hypothesis? pH value of wine bottle is significantly smaller or lesser than or equal to. It can be equal also because we're talking about number. So lesser than or equal to the threshold value 3.5. If you take example of a non-directional hypothesis, what will be the null hypothesis related to the first one? First hypothesis is there is significant correlation. The null hypothesis related to this will be there is no significant correlation between body fat percentage and the chest circumference of the male. Please remember that null hypothesis need not be negative every time. If I'm using the word no significant correlation, right? So there is no correlation or there is no significant difference. That does not mean that the statement is always negative. It is opposite hypothesis of your original hypothesis. Please remember, original hypothesis, we take it as alternative hypothesis. So alternative hypothesis is actually same as your research hypothesis. So you take your research hypothesis as your alternative hypothesis, create or make opposite statement of it and put it in the null hypothesis. Okay, that's how we write. So if your original hypothesis, that is research hypothesis, is negative statement, then obviously your alternate null hypothesis will be positive statement. So please note this, null hypothesis need not be negative. people are, a lot of confusion, misunderstanding about this null hypothesis statement. Null hypothesis, because we are using no. Please remember, if you are using word no difference, the no difference means what? No difference means they are equal. If I make a statement, they are equal, it looks like a positive statement. If I'm making no difference, then since the word is no, word used in that particular statement, we say that this is a negative statement. So null hypothesis need not be negative. Please remember. Okay, it is just an opposite statement of your alternative hypothesis, which is actually a research hypothesis. And in the process of research, in the hypothesis testing, we always test null hypothesis, which is not our hypothesis. That's the fun of actual research. No, we never test our research hypothesis. We always test opposite statement of the original research hypothesis, which is your alternative hypothesis. Okay. Now you will say, what is this? We are not testing, and then why are calling it as testing of hypothesis? We are calling it as testing of hypothesis because we are applying some different methodology. In science, mathematics and science, we are having proof by contradiction, proof by contradiction. So if I want to prove something, what I will do, I will start with an opposite statement, right? Suppose I want to prove that Earth is round. Let us take a simple meaning, Earth is round. I'm not going for an actual shape of Earth. Earth is round if I want to prove. How do I start? I will say that suppose Earth is not round. Then what will happen? I will collect data, and in the process, I will try to reject my null hypothesis. Please remember, null is an opposite statement. I will try to reject my null hypothesis. And when I reject my null hypothesis, automatically I'm accepting my alternative hypothesis. So if I want to prove my alternative hypothesis or my research hypothesis, what I will do, I will frame opposite statement, which is null. I will test that, and I will try to acquire a contradiction or a get contradiction for my null hypothesis so that I can reject. So in the process, I will try to reject my null hypothesis. Please remember this. So which hypothesis we are testing? We always test null, which is an opposite statement. I hope I'm clear now. Please type yes or no in the chat box once again. At least those three, four participants. Have you understood the concept of null and alternative hypothesis? Yes. Okay, fine. Thank you very much once again. Now, can we decide about the test related to null and alternative hypothesis? Before that, let me stress upon one important word called as significant. Now, this word is very important in the statistics. When you frame null and alternative hypothesis, please do not forget this word, null hypothesis and alternative, significant, the word significant. Now, question, there are a few minutes only. Question, what is the meaning of significant relationship? What is the difference in just relationship and significant relationship? Can anybody unmute and say something? Difference between significant relationship and just relationship. Is there any difference, first of all? Okay, let me put it like this. Have you heard terminology 19-20? 19-20 chalega? Okay. Significant is strong. Okay. Significant amount of difference, similarity. Yeah. So now 19-20 chalega. Let's try to understand this terminology. Then probably you will understand the meaning of word significant. 19-20 chalega. मतलब क्या है? Any answer between 19 and 20 is actually equivalent to 20. Okay. 19-20 chalega. 19 एंड 20 चलेगा मीन्स 19 भी चलेगा और 20 भी चलेगा, एनीथिंग बिटवीन 19-20 चलेगा, बट 18-20 नहीं चलेगा. मतलब if you are getting two answers 18 and 20, they are not equal, they are not treated as equal, right? But if it is 19.1 and 20 or 19.8, they are treated as equal. 19 भी चलेगा. If you look at these two terms, right, two numbers 19 and 20, and I take a difference between 90 and 20 is 1, and this 1 is actually 5% of 20. So 5% difference chalega. So there is a chance of error, we call it as, right? Ye 5% error chalta hai, but uske zyada error nahi chalega. We call it the level of significance in the statistical language. So by unknowingly we are using this 19 which chalega terminology, but there is a statistics behind that. 19 and 20 ka difference is 1, and 1 is 5% of 20. So we are keeping a margin of 5%. So up to 5% error chalta hai, usse zyada nahi chalega, because generally we fix 5% level of significance or error margin. So that significant का मतलब क्या है कि 19-20 के बीच में नहीं है, 18-20 है, significant है, real difference है, just थोड़ा सा difference नहीं है, real difference है, but that थोड़ा सा का meaning is different for different type of data. So one has to understand that. That depends upon. So in this statistical testing, we are not just finding out difference. We are finding out whether there is any significant difference or significant relation. Sometimes there is a relation, but that relation may not be significant. Okay, so that's what it means. This is very important word. So do not forget this word while testing this hypothesis. Now I will take you to this file of hypothesis testing, because just give me 2-3 minutes extra, because I think organizers are okay if I'm taking 4-5 minutes, 5 minutes say extra. Yes, please reply. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. If I take 5 minutes extra, will it be okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, fine. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah. So let me show you this file. The same hypothesis which I have actually mentioned on my slide. Now here I am writing null and alternative hypothesis for those hypotheses. See here. Women are less motivated. See, actual hypothesis was women are more motivated than men. So I'm writing less motivated. So this is my null hypothesis. Now here I'm talking about two groups, women and men, right? So I'm talking about women and men. So when I'm taking the now difference, less motivated, more motivated, in the sense difference, I'm talking about difference. So when I'm talking about this, so this is a different type of hypothesis, difference type hypothesis. So for that, I'm going to use two independent group, right? Two independent group or two independent sample parametric test or man-Whitney test, depending upon whether it is data is normally distributed or not. Similarly, second hypothesis was pH values of wine bottle is significantly higher than the threshold value. Alternate null hypothesis will be smaller than or equal to threshold value. Again, I'm talking about greater or smaller, so talking about difference. So this is a difference type of hypothesis. I can use one sample test. Now, why it is one sample test? Because one number is fixed. There are no two groups. We are comparing with a particular value, fixed value, and that is why this is one sample t-test. Okay, and that depends upon the right-hand type, greater than type of hypothesis. Third hypothesis again, paired sample or independent sample we are using. But in the correlation hypothesis, if you see, right, alternative null hypothesis is no significant correlation, and we are going to use either Pearson t-test or Spearman rank test. So depending upon this is a relationship type hypothesis, and this is the previous one difference type. So once you identify relationship and difference type, then automatically you will be able to use a particular test also. Okay, so that's very important. Now, generally they are mutually exclusive statements, so nothing except these two statements, no other possibilities are available. One statement is true, but both cannot be true simultaneously. Now, the big question, can hypothesis be proved? Please remember that one cannot prove hypothesis, null hypothesis. We can just fail to reject it or we can accept it, but one cannot prove it. So don't use terminology null hypothesis is proved in any research. Null hypothesis is accepted, alternative is accepted or rejected. Don't use terminology called as proved or disproved. Yes, that's very important. So the null hypothesis is assumed to be true and contradiction is general. So we try to reject null hypothesis, but it is considered as true, but we try to reject it because we want to prove our hypothesis. So in the earlier session, one of the resource person has talked about error, right? Type 1, type 2 error. Type 1, type 2 error. Type 1 error is actually rejecting null when it is true. In the simple Hindi language, one can say, सच को झूठ मानना, जो सच है उसको झूठ मानना, ये error है, right? और उस error को type 1 error बोलते हैं. And what is type 2 error? झूठ को सच मानना, right? और झूठ को सच indirectly accept करना, उसको बोलते हैं type 2 error. This you remember, right? This is very important in the statistical testing. And depending upon the direction of the hypothesis, either it is two-tailed test. Two-tailed matlab both directions, right? Not equal to, see, this is in between is non-directional and both the side, right hand side, left hand side is directional hypothesis. So when we use some mathematical terms, in case of factors influencing study, do we frame? Yes, there is a relationship. Influence means what? Arpita, when you talk about relationship, no, influence, one is the influence depending, right? So one depends on the other, making an influence. It's a relationship type of hypothesis. For every hypothesis, one can think of. So there is a direction for greater than, less than, or not equal to. So greater than, less than are directional and not equal to non-directional hypothesis. We call it as a test. Accordingly, one has to decide whether it is a test or not. Okay. So now the important part which we are going to discuss in the next session, I'll come back to this particular part also, is how to decide. This is about the significant level, 5%, 10%, everybody. What are the steps of hypothesis? So from tomorrow, we'll start from what are the steps of hypothesis testing, selection of the test and one sample test, t-test, parametric test, t-test, types of t-test, and the actual software part. So if anybody want to work along with me, please download that software. It's very easy to work on the software. I have given you a process file, and then you can definitely use those files also. Yeah, so today I think we will stop here. Thank you very much for patiently, everybody is attending patiently. Madam, I think I have done for the day.
So there is
morning,
one. Yes. So there is one question by Ms. Arpita. In case of factors influencing type of study, how, like, should we frame relationship-based hypothesis?
Yes. I have answered that actually. I've seen that chat box. It's a relationship, sir, because we are talking about cause and effect relationship, right? Something is influencing. So effect. So when we talk about effect, it's a relationship. One factor is affecting the other. Anybody else, please, you can type your question.
You can type as well as, sir, we have given the right to unmute themselves and ask a question if they want. Mr. Tarun, you want to ask a question? Maybe because we were not able to hear you clearly. Mr. Tarun? You can type, Tarun, if you have any question, you can type, sir will answer accordingly. Any questions participants want to ask? You can unmute yourself also. If you're not able to type, you can unmute yourself and ask the question. Okay, so no questions. So maybe,
no questions. Okay, thank
so
you.
maybe when they're like when they're doing it again, they're revising it. So maybe then we can get a
Fine,
question.
fine.
So we'll be there tomorrow also taking forward the data analysis
Yes.
part. I would ask Assistant Professor Ms. Vishaka Wagwe to propose a vote of.
Thank you, ma'am. On behalf of our management, our Director Madam, Dr. Mrs. Nancy Jose, our in charge principal, Professor Dr. Moshmi Datta ma'am, Vice Principal and IQAC Coordinator, Dr. Mona Mehta ma'am, I would like to thank you, sir, for taking up such an interesting and important topic for research. Analysis is very important for any research, and the concept as well as a demonstration given by you for Jamovi software was very simple and easy to understand. The term hypothesis, the different types of hypotheses that are required, everything with examples were explained very well. I would also like to thank our management for providing us with such a good platform where we can organize such workshops which is required for research. I would also like to thank our Director Madam, in charge Principal Madam, and Vice Principal and IQAC Coordinator Madam for initiating such workshops that is need of the hour. My sincere thanks to my co-conveners because without their support, the workshop won't be possible, and also the participants, because participants are very important for any workshop, for any seminars to be successful. So my sincere thanks to all the participants as well. Tomorrow again, we are going to meet for 2 sessions. The first session will be on parametric test, ANOVA, and second session will be on introduction to R language. The session will start exactly at 10 a.m. So I request all the participants to please be on time. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. May I take your leave?
The attendance link is posted. I request participants to fill it for today.